You're listening to the smartest guys in marketing, the best show on the planet for client businesses to learn about traffic, funnels, sales, conversions, and marketing coolness. Chris and Taylor are the founders of Traffic and Funnels, a digital marketing consultancy helping you get paid clients from cold traffic daily. Now, here are your hosts, Chris and Taylor.
I've got a very special guest today who's taken time out of his busy day. His name is Timothy Dick. He's coming from all the way from Newport Beach, California, one of my favorite places. What's up, man?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. The sun is shining. I'm breathing. Yep. I'm back in my routine. We've had a crazy few weeks, and I'm feeling good. So I'm excited to dive in here with you, talk about business. Just so you guys know, Timothy is actually a client of ours, and he's been a client since how long?
I think since March, so over maybe 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
And so the goal here, guys, is for us to dive into Timothy's business, kind of see his before, where he's at now, where he's going. And really, I want to inspire you guys. I want you to be inspired to think bigger about your business, to think bigger about what's possible for you. And, you know, it's interesting what is possible, right, Tim? With where we are in business today, there's so many people who have big dreams, right? But very few people are actually realizing those dreams. They're not becoming true. All they do is dream, dream, dream. And there's a lack of action. There's a lot of people who are confused. They don't have clarity about the best next steps for what they should take. So our goal here is to hopefully give you guys some clarity, not only dream big, but know it's actually possible for you based on other people's past, their journeys, so that you can actually, realize your dreams finally. So before we move on, Tim, go ahead and just give us the 2-minute story about who you are, your background, and then we'll dive in.
Okay. Essentially, I was born and raised in rural West Virginia, coal mining town. All my dad and most of my family, were coal miners. Essentially found the internet, started first business whenever I was 13, 14, all self-taught online, just made flyers for computer repair, put them up around town. By high school, kind of expanded into web design, web hosting. In high school, I was making 6 figures from then on. And then went further and further. The internet just opens things up. And even though I was in a very rural area, took advantage of that. Was part of some pretty incredible companies. HostGator, at one point we hosted 3 million websites. Company was sold a few years ago. And I also own a couple other tech companies now. And I'm also this year, through working with you guys, I really kind of laid the foundation to launch a consulting business because I really enjoy helping other small businesses increase their revenue, generate more profit. And so I'm doing that now. And it's really, thanks to the foundation that you guys laid.
That's really, that's an amazing story and background. I'm actually from Virginia, so We're neighbors. Interesting though, like a lot of people think that their biggest problem is tech. Right. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on being a tech genius, brilliant at tech, tech inside and out. We've had other conversations at our events. What was the struggle that you had to where you felt like you need to come and get our help? Because tech, and a lot of people think, all I need to know is how to run a webinar. All I need to know is how to, get leads. What is your story in regards to, you already had that stuff figured out.
Sure.
What was the piece that you were missing?
Yeah, I think that, overall, a lot of people, do look at the tech and, and they think that they need, first thing they're going to do is run out and, get a website and business cards and Facebook page and all this stuff. And none of that, that's all stuff that's easy. You can get it or get help with it very easily. What you guys really had that appealed to me is that you had a structure in place for building out an expert business. And you not only had the, the structure in place with, you do teach, all the basics like that, but you also taught a lot about really honing in messaging, targeting. I think that's a huge thing because you really have to focus on that, in order to be able to stand out. And so I think that you guys had that, and then also the community. I've had a lot of business success, but one of the things that always comes up is, you get to a certain level and it's lonely at the top, and there's you're going to have challenges all the time. Things always come up, things are in cycles, ups and downs. And having the community that you guys have put together really helps to be able to just address things very quickly, get back on track when those challenges do come up. So I think that, it's a combination of you having like a proven plan, that can be trusted, the community, and then also just from following you guys. And especially since we've worked together, I've really realized that you and Taylor and really everyone on the team at TNF is, you're just good people and you work with integrity, and that's hard to find. And I think when you are around good people that have all that and have a proven system, I mean, it's pretty hard to pass up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my next question is someone who is already successful. Like, you already have money. You probably have like piles of gold bullions, hidden in your yard or whatever. You've already had a lot of success. You've made a bunch of money. Why did you want to launch consulting? Why did you want to make that transition? What's kind of the backstory there?
I think a lot of it just really comes down to wanting to give back in some ways. And then also, I've always been a student of personal development and marketing. I follow pretty much as a hobby. I'm always all the latest trends, tactics, all the new stuff that's coming out. And I don't always have the opportunity to be able to use that knowledge and use those things on my existing businesses. It may just not be a fit for some reason, but I can take that knowledge and put it into practice, out there. And then also at the same time, whenever I first started working with you guys, I was pretty burnt out in general, just with my other companies. And, one company, is 11 years old, makes a lot of money, but it's, I was mentally checked out because I just wasn't challenged anymore, and so I think it's a combination of wanting to do something where I can actually give back and be able to put knowledge and info out there and practice. And then it's actually interesting that it actually reignited things. And, I kind of got over the burnout, and so with my other business, it's drastically improved, even though it's not a consulting business. So, I think that it's interesting. You come looking for one thing, but you end up with so much more. TNF it's not only just the business aspect, but just personally, you get so much out of it.
So you were successful. You had a lot of money coming in. It's interesting because we see a lot of the same thing. People who have had success, they're just road weary, and they're at kind of the end where they're just burnt out. They've lost vision, and those people, because they've been successful, there's a point where, you want to continue to make money, right? You want to continue to be able to buy great things and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've noticed this for myself. There's a point where impact becomes really, really important. So you're kind of at a crossroads where you're like, you can't go any further because of the burnout, and you want to make a massive impact. So it was almost like it was a snare. And what you needed to figure out was how to have fresh vision for your future to be able to make a massive impact and actually enjoy your life at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah. That's really accurate. And also, I feel like the consulting and expert business models, really, it's so, just even within the community here, seeing all the different niches that everyone is in and the different types of services that they provide is really interesting, because you're kind of wide open to be able to explore different things and put your expertise out there and really help a lot of people. And I think sometimes, like, especially when you do have success, it's easy to start taking some things for granted in terms of something that, you may think, oh, well, that's simple. I do that every day, all the time. And it's whenever you actually look at it, though, from a different view, that's something that other business owners could see as like a huge problem that could really propel them forward. And so it's a great way to be able to share that.
So I want to go back because you mentioned, you thought you were coming in and getting one thing and you got a whole lot more. I'm interested in kind of that story. And 6 months ago compared to now, what else is different? Like, what else have you gained? What else have you realized that has been part of that life-changing aspect?
Yeah. So I've obviously, as I said, being really a student of personal development and just everything, I'm constantly buying books, courses, new things, looking at things. And so I've, had some courses, worked with some companies that, I thought were probably, or I thought they were your competitors at the time. Really, I don't know that there's much competition right now, because what I ended up getting was just so much higher level, and higher caliber than what else was out there. But I had, been through other courses and even some other consulting courses. And I'm talking, expensive courses, like 10,000, 5,000, it was, none of them really clicked with me. I mean, they had the mechanics there in a lot of cases, but there was always just kind of something missing. And I felt like in a lot of cases, they were kind of structured so that there was one path, that you had to follow. And it was just about selling as many courses as they could. Whereas coming in, one of the biggest differences, I think, is that, well, first of all, you guys are very selective in that you really take the time to figure out what the goals are, what your client's looking for before you'll even accept them as a client, and I've personally, known of people that, have been turned in a different direction, and it's just because they're at a different point and what, you're providing may not apply to them at that time, but maybe they'll be ready later so they could come back. And I felt like that's a huge difference because, you're really looking at what they need up front, before they become a client. And then once you're actually in, obviously there's the fundamentals and all of that is there covered in even more detail, but it's custom, it's custom in terms of everyone needs different things. Some people struggle more in different areas. And one of the biggest things, especially with some of the recent changes, I really like that you guys have kind of curated some of the best experts for different things, a mindset coach, copywriting, different things that are needed. And as those things are needed, those resources are there to just plug into. And that's on top of everything else that's already systemized, and it's a proven system. And I think the other big thing is that with you and Taylor, you're both, as I said before, I can tell, that you guys operate with integrity. You're very concerned with the client's success. And I think that really makes things different from a lot of the courses that are out there, because a lot of them, it's just a matter of just do a big launch, sell as many courses as you can. And then if you interact with anyone much, it is probably about buying another course, the next version or something. Whereas here, it's more about let's get your business situated, tweak what you have, tweak whatever area you need tweaked, and help you actually succeed. And it's the environment is something that when it's just a different caliber. When you get around a lot of people like that, it's inspiring to see other people, and someone could be having a problem and they ask a question, and their business may be completely different in a very different industry, than what one person is doing. But just working through their issues, you're getting to see the underlying principles and concepts that are taught actually applied in real time. And I think that's a huge thing. And that's as far as the differences, from other courses out there.
Yeah, it's hard not to win when you're surrounded by winners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, to reference what you said, we are very keen on protecting the people that come in by qualifying people. and understanding that everybody's at different levels, and that's all cool and stuff. But honestly, a lot of it is because we might have someone who they've had some initial success. Case in point, we talk about Jack quite a bit. When he came in, he was 17 years old. And when I first saw it, I was like, man, we're going to have to refund this dude. Like, did he like steal money from his mom or, use her credit card? Like what, but he had the mentality and the mindset of a winner. Like, I'm going to figure this out. And he had an expertise. Like he wrote great copy. He just didn't have the acquisition side down. And so being around that, man, I totally agree with that. You get that lift. So you came in burnt out. You were lacking vision. You had a lot of unexpected surprises, if you will, about you got on the inside. Because honestly, I don't think we're that great at selling Client Kit. I think we rather are pretty bad at it in regards to how Client Kit changes people's lives compared to what else is on the market. And that's just something, we have to work on.
And,
but
I wouldn't say that, that you're, bad at selling it. I would just say that it's really hard to explain and communicate well the actual value and impact, especially in such a, a marketplace where there's, just so much BS out there. It's kind of hard to communicate that. And I think that another point that is something that I think is really interesting is that when you say qualify, there are a lot of companies that say that they qualify their clients and they're looking at, do they have the money? Can they afford it?
Right.
And that's not really, obviously that, you have to do that, but that's like a very low on the priority list, with your qualification. It's more about, are we actually going to be able to help you and produce an ROI? So I think that's a huge difference because that word's used very loosely in a lot of places.
Yeah. And honestly, man, that's, there's been times where we've got it wrong and we had to refund somebody and, just to protect them, to protect our clients who are the right people and protect our reputation. And it's an interesting juggling act to play there. And sometimes it's not felt very good, But at the end of the day, I want to be able to sleep good and know that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And that plays, right into what I said with, operating with integrity and looking at the long game. And I really like the fact that, even if I'm working on different projects or change course or something, I still want to stay plugged into the group and environment that you guys have here because, things change. There's the market changes, there's cycles, but, you guys are, just good people and obviously have, a lot to share and just staying plugged into that is key. And, in a lot of cases, for lack of a better phrase, some of the courses, it's kind of like a hit and run kind of thing where it's like, you sell the course and they're not going to get, if someone doesn't do well, doesn't get anything out of it, it's very difficult to get a refund. And with you guys, like, anything that happens, even if it's something minor, like that, is not necessarily bad, but it's just something that didn't work out the way planned after testing, you guys always make that right. Even without your clients asking, you'll say, hey guys, we're being honest. This part of the program or this didn't work. Let's tweak it. If you have feedback, we'll look at that. And then you make it right. And that's, a rare quality.
So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your positivity, and I really want people to experience the truth. That's really important to me. So you've been in since March, and that was an interesting point for us because we kind of burned everything down and, gutted the whole program, the whole system. And so a lot of growing pains and learning lessons. I want to hear something, I don't know, negative, not negative, but like, something that was like kind of a bummer, to you and, something that you weren't expecting. Because, I feel like so many people, they try to paint just the perfect picture. And I want it to be the real picture. I want people to have like a real grasp that when they come in, they know that it's just like, or they listen to this. So like, okay, these dudes are real. They're authentic. they're 100. And I know that whatever they tell me is going to be the truth on the other side. So anything truthful you want to reveal, open the curtains, shine the light in. I'm totally down for that.
I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, because there's been so many things. I feel like things are constantly evolving. I guess if I had to pull a negative out of the air, I would say being on the West Coast, a lot of the calls are just so early, because you guys are on the East Coast. Other
East
than
Coast,
that,
West Coast, dude.
it's kind of tough to say. I mean, I would say that maybe it's just sometimes there's so much going on that you kind of have to really be selective, because you can't necessarily attend every call, but you guys have so much offered, pretty much every day, there's stuff available. But that could be a negative if someone gets overwhelmed with it. But if you look at it correctly, then once you are situated in one area, then you can, focus only on the calls that are applicable to your current situation where you're at. It could be turned into a positive. But I mean, other than that, I really haven't really had any negative experiences. I guess, it's really hard to say. And also, it's something that, I'll point out that I was just asked to hop on this webinar a week or so ago. We haven't talked about anything. I really had no idea what we were even going to be talking about. So this is not scripted. We've not talked about anything. If there's something there's a negative, I'd be honest about it. I mean, but I really don't think so.
Yeah, man, that's good. And that's a great point. And what he's talking about, if you're listening or watching this, is we have calls every single day. We have calls that are specific to helping people create their offers, copy, messaging, which obviously is extremely important. It's the most important thing before advertising or running ads on Facebook or YouTube or GDN, Google Display. Like if you don't have your messaging right, it doesn't matter how much of an expert you are in actually getting results, you will plummet. So we do have a lot going on. And I can see where if people don't have kind of that customized direction on what they need to hone in on and focus on, then that can be a challenge. So that's great feedback. In one of the things I want to just chat about real quick is me being on the inside, obviously one of the founders. And one of the reasons why I wanted to put these interviews together, if you will, is because I do see all the impacts. I do see the people's lives who have been drastically changed. Like they came in and thought they were getting, like a lead generation system to attract their perfect client, right? But what they've gotten on the other side is their families have been completely changed. Mm-hmm. The impact that they have on clients is way bigger. There's like this crazy, massive ripple effect that we're seeing from not only our clients, but like what's going down the line. It's almost like I'm a grandfather, like impact, and it's amazing. And so the point being that I feel like we have a moral obligation to tell people the truth, to open the curtains, positive or negative, so people have a real honest assessment from the front lines, guys like you. Because Tim, there's a lot of people who are listening who they've been successful, but they're probably at burnout. They've probably lost vision, and they're like, what do I do next, man? Like I've got an expertise. I know that I want to live my life full. I want to be fulfilled in what I do, and I just don't know what to do next. There's so many options in front of me. So what would you say to those people?
I would say that based on my experience, as companies grow, especially if you founded the company, as companies grow, sometimes you get into such big picture stuff that you start getting the burnout and getting a little disconnected just because you cannot do everything yourself. You cannot do everything and be involved with every aspect of the business. And so if you're already successful, whether you have a business or that's, you are running currently, you're in a lot of ways, you may be burnt out or unfulfilled because you're not getting to be on the front lines of your own business due to, being successful. And I think that one of the one of the things with consulting and expert type businesses is that you really get to see the impact that you have, because in most cases, you are working with a variety of clients that you're able to, share your knowledge with and help and actually get them results. And then from there, you can get a lot of fulfillment from that. And, because typically when you have a successful business or you've been successful, it's less about the money and it's more about what you can do, because, money is important, but it's something that being able to connect with those clients and actually see the impact can be really fulfilling.
Yeah. So you were burnt out, you're frustrated, you lacked a vision, your impact was minimal. And now we're 6 months later. What's the difference? Like, where are you at today? And then give me how has that set you up for the future? Like, where do you see yourself in 6 months from now?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things is really just the personal development, mindset training, all of that's part of the program really helped me with all aspects of my life. I'm a lot more confident now. I'm not burnt out, with my other business. We've just recently, we had a day that was 10x a normal day in revenue, and that's for a very established company, and that was not in the consulting business, so it's something that a lot of that has cleared up from, the mindset training, a lot of that, because, after a while you just get worn down, there's so many problems that come up, and every day there's something fun and exciting that happens, and you're dealing with that. And so the program definitely helped with that. And then it also really, I guess in a way, kind of like opened my mind to what else is out there. Because when you think about consulting, I think that's a lot of people at first don't think about, having the impact and what they can actually do, and the sheer flexibility, variety of actually what they can do. It's something that they may be able to take a hobby or an interest that they have a lot of knowledge about, and turn that into something. And so I think for me, it's really opened me up, especially seeing all the different businesses that are within the community, seeing them go through things, it opens me up to be more creative about, what I'm looking to do. And then just knowing that the system works and seeing the system work over and over and over and over for people that, were in the group, really kind of gave me the confidence to know that going from burnout to, a new business, there's a lot there, but you already had things in place. So it really took away a huge chunk of the mental energy and thinking and planning that has to go into starting a new business. It's almost, in a way, it's kind of like, if someone buys a franchise for like a proven plan or similar things like that, and so it really opened me up. And I think the biggest thing is it helped me start putting myself out there more. And, I was able within, I believe it was week 3, I had already brought in revenue that recouped the entire investment. And now, it's, I'm doing, just from the consulting business, I'm doing that monthly very easily. And, I've reached out, like I had some opportunities that I wouldn't have pursued before, but just by opening myself up and reaching out, I had so many people that were in my network already, that from either the past or current, and they just said, "Oh, I didn't know you were offering any kind of consulting." And once I did that, suddenly I was like booked up, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even really know what I'm going to be helping you with at this point. But, I had people lining up. Even one was a pretty large client, a venture capital firm, that messaged back and they said, "Hey, we'd love for you to evaluate our deals, that we're getting ready to close as an outside expert." And that's stuff that I had really never thought about, because I don't know, I guess I was so worn down with, my existing business just from time, and just getting all the creative energy flowing again, getting the success, being around everyone, that seeing the progress just really opened me up to a lot of new opportunities like that. And then also in my personal life, there's been huge improvements, and that's, a lot from the mindset and being able to, see what's working for other people and model that. And it's just it's a huge difference. I mean, I saw the ROI right away from a business standpoint, but I definitely didn't expect the personal side of things and how much, I got from the program so far.
Yeah, dude, that's a great point. We'll wrap up here in a second, but
sure.
What made is like so many people are concerned about the business ROI. Mm-hmm. If I invest this much, so I get this much back, and they don't understand like the personal ROI, or the ROE, return on effort, and how you grow as a person is actually way more important. So, man, I appreciate your story. I appreciate you coming on and just being open and honest with people who are listening, probably literally all over the world. And so if you are listening, maybe you are watching and you're at a place like Tim was a few months ago where you're burnt out, you've lost vision, you're an expert, you've already had some success, but you want to make a greater impact. You want to influence more people. You want to impact more people. You need fresh vision. You need to be around amazing people. You want a process that is proven to work over and over, but you're kind of at the end of your rope. You're like, I want it, but I don't know if I can go get it because I'm so daggone worn out, tired, and I don't know if I have any space mentally or emotionally. I want you to get on the phone with us, and I want you to get some new hope, get some new vision about what's possible for you. And here's the deal: if you're like Tim, you're an expert like this dude, with the confidence. Now he's putting himself out there. He has an obligation, like we do, right? He has an obligation to tell people because of the value that he brings to the world, to the marketplace. And so if you're listening to this and you're an expert, even if you're down on yourself or you're bummed out, whatever the case may be, you must understand that you have value to give to the world. And because of that, it is your obligation to take that value to the world. And I believe try to scale it as big as possible because, the bigger the scale, the more impact you're making. And then the money is just a byproduct at that point.